Everybody, hey everybody, welcome back. It's Thursday. I got all my friends with me, but I want to start out by saying that if you stick with me for today, I'm gonna be on the Jesus Christ. Start again. Hey, we're back Thursday. I got my friend Horatio, Micheal, DELANEY with me as always. But after this show, we're going to be doing the launch of Playing the Back of the Room. And my first guest is Dean Edwards. So I hope everybody or anybody that's in this stream or sees the stream, stick around later on this afternoon, noon Pacific time. I'm going to be talking to Dean about comedy, about Saturday Night Live, about his career and impressions and all that stuff. So please join us. Ask us any
Now,
questions.
how can we tune
Let's
into
do
that?
it. How can you get in? They can't hear you, but how can you get into what?
Oh, I'm sorry. How can we find that? Like, are you sending out posts about it?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. There's a post. I mean, I haven't been too good at like advertising, but I will promote it after we do it. So, I mean, like this first one, that might not get a lot
Oh,
of
okay. I see. Okay.
viewers, but I'll
Yeah.
promote it afterwards, so you'll be able to see the video and all that stuff.
So hey Jerry, that link you sent me last week, is that good for this week as far as posting? Like for
Let
me
me
to
send you
post
another.
on,
Let me send you one right now, and let's see.
okay.
Yeah,
Send me one too.
it's my it's my
Your
YouTube.
YouTube
So
page?
it's always that's always the same. But maybe some
So
of the
you're live
URL
on
might be
YouTube?
different. We're
So
live
you
on
just
YouTube
go
right
on
now.
YouTube and you could just set this to live and just go ahead and live cast from there?
Yeah, we're on right now. We're on YouTube and Facebook.
Well, I'm gonna post this link on Facebook.
Do you want a Facebook link, or do you want a YouTube link?
Any link? No, I could just post the YouTube link in the Facebook bar. The ordinary whatever bar. What's happening?
All right. Let's see
The old
if I can
what's
do
on
this.
your mind? What's on your mind? I never say what's on my mind. I always say something else.
Well, we have to get Delaney's mom. We have to make Delaney's mom aware that we're on. She's one of our fans.
Yeah,
She's
I
been
get. I I get nervous with parents. I don't know what I'm gonna say, and it doesn't really make any sense at this age. I should not be worried about what my
no.
parents think.
Right,
Yeah, I know.
but it's what happens. Yeah.
My
Yeah,
mom is she's super hip, so it's okay with my mom.
well, that's good.
Your mom is super hip.
Yep, she's hip to stuff.
I'm not gonna say my parents aren't hip because they might be listening, but probably not as hip as your mom. I think they could deal with that.
Well, your mom dated someone
She she
funny, right?
she dated some funny people, but she dated a famous person, Dion from Dion and the Belmonts.
Yeah, yeah. I always think it's Frankie Valley. That's how I retell it.
I have a
What?
feeling Frankie Valli might be funnier than Dion was, but
It's just I
it
think
was
more people
Dion.
know Frankie Valley than Dion. And then of course there's
But
a
people
joke
know
where it's like you might be his son, so you might be. There's a rumor that you might be Frankie Valley's son.
Dion's son.
No, weirdly, Frankie Valley. It's
Frankie
Oh,
Valley.
weirdly, that's the rumor that I'm Frankie
it's
Valli's son.
strange. Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, because
But
you
I have
talked
no
about this before.
falsetto. I don't look like him, and I have no falsetto. So there it is. But I don't look like Dion either. It's pretty obvious I'm my father's son.
This has
I'm
nothing to
gonna
do
try.
with that. Oh, it had nothing to do with that subject other than mom's dating somebody. But I was thinking about this the other day. I didn't have that many black or male teachers at all. Much
Uh-huh.
so, not even no less black teachers. But I was talking to this organization because I play a teacher on television, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Oh, that's great." There's not like these lack of male teachers and all that. And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't have any male teachers. Definitely didn't have any black male teachers. I had, but I remember one. that I had, my 8th grade science teacher, and he dated my aunt. So I hated him.
Oh,
Uh,
you
Yeah,
know, you definitely don't want your teacher dating people in your family.
that was the worst. The
One
worst.
the weirdest teacher experience I had, one of the weirdest, was when we went to score some acid when I was in the 10th grade, and we drop off at the guy's house, and it turns out to be my biology teacher, Brad, Mr.
Breaking,
Gammon. Mr.
Breaking Bad.
Gammon.
You live Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
Brad. Yeah, it was a Breaking Bad moment. That was great.
yeah, they call it Breaking Bad now when teachers do criminality. He's Breaking Bad, man. I know he's Breaking
Back then,
Bad.
back then it was just called Brad. We're going to get some from Brad. Brad Gammon? Jesus Christ.
Brad. Yeah, man. I had some rough
Wait,
teachers
Jerry,
back in the day.
did you say you didn't have black teachers, Jerry?
Black male teachers.
Oh, just women.
Yeah, and the one I had
Okay.
was, well, and I take that back. I had two because later on I had the one that dated my aunt and another one that was in the Lions Club with my dad. They both treated me like shit. They both because they knew my parents.
So,
One was jealous of my dad because my dad was the president that year, and I ended up in his fucking class. I don't know how that happened. So he just rode
Oh
me all
God, it's
year.
like a bad
Yeah.
sitcom here.
And I couldn't even
so
say
much
anything.
for
I was like, like, should I go to my dad? Like, this dude is like riding my ass every day. And my dad would be like, what, is he telling you to do your homework? You're supposed to, shit like that.
Right, right.
You know?
Oh God, there's no one to turn to here.
Yeah, no, this guy's an asshole.
Right.
And then he could especially get like, I know your father, so, get to work. Um,
Um,
yeah.
there's a
I
role
had I
model.
had a black teacher. He was really great. He looked like he was like played bass in like a funk band. He had like this perm that went back. He had missing teeth though, and at the time I remember being like, "How's a teacher missing his teeth, man?" Like even
Because
at
they
that
can't
point,
afford to
and I
get a
understand
replaced.
sometimes people
Can't
don't have
afford
money, obviously, but if you're a teacher, there's got to be
teachers.
some measure that you can take to make sure you have some teeth. But whatever. Other than that, he was a very cool guy. But
What
that
did he
always made me.
teach?
And he would teach, and he would be like, but he would be
But
also like, don't
what
come into this
subject?
class stinking up. Don't be stinking in here. You're young
Yep.
men's and young women's now. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotta
get your
watch.
deodorant.
Hmm.
Clean up down there. People giggling and laughing. He was like, no, I don't want anybody coming in here stinking up the whole place.
That
Um,
that
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
age, that's a gym teacher's job. Is only hygiene.
yeah,
yes.
That's it.
Well, the gym teachers always taught health class, so we had
Yeah,
coach. We
yeah,
had
yeah.
coach. What was his name? Was it
Lord.
Whittlesey? I don't. And he didn't like me particularly. Once I was like, I could do a coach. He goes, "You can't do nothing, Delaney."
I think I told this story before, but I'll tell you again. It's about sometime when we were in gym class in high school, some weirdo took a shit in the locker room, like while we were all out playing and throwing, playing probably being dodgeball. And we had a
Hmm.
gym teacher who was like probably a World War II veteran, like a real Chicago hard ass. And he's like I don't know who did this, but if I were you, and then this is what happened with me in the army. If we had someone like that who made things worse for us, we put soap in a pillowcase and beat the fuck out of him. It's like
Turn on your friends.
just
Turn
asking us
on.
to like find who did this, beat their ass, and tell them to stop it, or else you're gonna have to do this strenuous shit that you hate for the next 2 weeks. So I don't know how it got solved. Eventually, people quit
Prison
Yeah,
shitting.
that's
rules.
old school.
Prison rules now. And by the way, you blacks, you should be at your own lunch table with the whites. You should be.
Oh yeah, of course, of
Kids, at
course.
some point you gotta survive. Be with your own. I mean, that's what the
In
fuck.
in my elementary school, we only had one black teacher, period, men or women, that I knew of. But everyone loved him. He was beloved. It was Mr. Van Putton, the PE teacher. But he was absolutely beloved. He was like the star teacher. because he
Well, you
taught
br-
gym. Of
well, you
course,
bring
we
up
love
that. I
gym.
don't know. That seemed like that was in every school where the. Why did they make the gym teacher teach like sex ed and my
Uh-huh.
school did that too. Like
I mean,
the worst possible
somebody had to
person for the
do it.
school. I know that's why nobody else wanted to do it. That's why he did it.
But
I'll do that shit.
I think this guy was my algebra teacher, or he may have been like something cool like art or something fun. But he was a good teacher. I remember it being a pretty good teacher. So, but yeah, um, yeah, I don't know. It's
You
just
just get stuck.
crazy.
You just get stuck with it.
But I think I had mostly black teachers, to be honest. Probably because
You went
Chicago
to
public school.
yeah inner city
Yeah,
public school. Yeah,
In middle school, at George Washington Carver Middle School, I had mostly black teachers.
that
and
sounds like that makes
the only
sense.
white ones that were there, the only white ones I remember, like, I'm not being crazy, but let's say half of the white teachers I ever had were all nuts, like just people that were like, got hit in the head or something, and the one was just like fucking psychotic people that got fired from other places, and it was like, oh, that was kind of like, oh, I get it. It was a public school, like, you know, no
Hmm.
one wanted to be there, and unless they were nuts, and it's like, fuck it. She shows up every morning. He keeps the
Yeah,
kids in line.
I know. I know. I mean, I
I gotta
play that on
say,
TV now, but like I get it. Um. Oh, I forgot to give you a link.
You
Did I give
play
you a link
you
there?
play
Yeah.
you play like a normal kind of, by the rules guy, right?
I'm an asshole. My
You're
character.
just you're
I'm like the.
mean.
Yeah. I'm. Yeah, but to the other teachers, like, and I'm hard on the kids, I guess too. Like I'm real stringent, but yeah, I'm
Okay,
like
so you're
that.
strict. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you're a little bit of a dick.
Yes. Yep.
I've
I'm.
peeked in at the show a couple times, Jerry, looking for you. I haven't seen you yet.
I'm only on every once in a while. They did an episode that like kind of like explained my character a little bit, why I'm
Yeah,
like
what's your
that.
deal? What's your deal?
I'm just like that.
Well, that's a Mick Napier question, and you gave me a Mick Napier annoyance style answer. Like, because I'm just like that. That's why.
No, I mean that's basically the episode of like this is I'm like this, you know.
You think that someone that you grew up with or something was mean to you, but it turns out that he had a nice childhood. It was just himself who was like
I mean,
being mean.
yeah. I mean, or and also like he justifies it like, oh, I'm hard on the kids because and I want them to be good, and this is the way I am, and this I put my personality into this, you know, and it works, whatever. But yeah,
I think the best
You
combo
know,
is to be tough and playful at the same time. Everybody wants a tough teacher, but nobody wants someone who takes it too seriously.
um,
yeah.
But
Um,
we're talking about a pretend guy. You're not talking about actual teaching. You're talking about a character.
that is true.
And there's
My
so
third
many
grade teacher.
asshole characters, so many jerk characters to be inspired by. But you want to be original. You want to do your own thing. You don't want to copy somebody else's performance.
I
this is
mean,
the first time we covered. This is the first time we covered this topic of portraying assholes in
portraying
Mm.
improv
Because
assholes.
or in a
well,
show.
like I learned from my acting professor that nobody sees himself as an asshole. Sometimes there are personalities who'll say stuff like that, like, "Oh, I'm an asshole. I know it," but they don't really think they're a bad person.
No, it's not
Yes,
hip. It's not hip to indicate it either.
to
Um,
indicate that you're like, oh, I'm an asshole,
yeah,
or
yeah, no, it should come out by what you're seeing, kind of whatever, organically. I'm just thinking about playing asshole characters. It's you have to know. Of course, you know what you're playing. This is like not improv, but I guess
yeah.
my mind would probably work the same way. But at first, you go outside of it and look in, like what is asshole behavior, and then you go inside and you're like, well, I'm going to justify it because this is the type of person I am, and that person is normally perfect. Like the
that
weirdos don't think they're perfect,
right.
uh,
Yes.
but I know they're not, and I'm going to show you that they're not, and I'm going to show you that we have to live with these weirdos, and there's nothing really we can say anymore about it because it's not cool to call them weirdos. Um, so I don't know. All the things that we were built in to kind of make fun of are now, which brings me to the next topic, which is the girl with the big teeth from. I hate to even say
She got
it.
mad. She got mad at Sarah.
I didn't
for-
even look
Sarah
how I
put a
just
big old
described
butt-
her. Her name is like Amy Wood, I think.
That's
I
all I
just said the
think.
girl with the big teeth.
Dude, every time she came on screen, I would be like, "Them teeth, though." That's all I said. The girl with the teeth, like I'm. That's
I know
come
it's a constant conflict to our whatever our perfections of women.
I mean, that's why Mike White cast her. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know.
It does make you look a certain way. If you got like Carl Malone, remember Carl Malone had that certain look because he had big buck teeth, and it gives you this certain sort of, and it may be completely wrong, but it makes you look
I
sympathetic
don't
in
remember.
some way.
I don't remember Carl Malone with big buck teeth. I
I don't know why I went to Carl Malone. He had this sympathetic look because he had big.
he
But all
froze.
those NBA guys have a huge mouthful of teeth. It's like trying to hold a bunch of dice in your mouth.
Okay, but
or a row of chiclets.
I think I think that's
Gigantic people. That big. Yeah.
Is that the first time that SNL has apologized to somebody publicly for a sketch? I feel like it is.
Probably not. Maybe personally, people have said stuff. Like maybe I went a little far on that.
Yeah,
Right.
I think. I mean, famously, right? It's famously that like did Eddie Murphy talk to David Spade about saying that shit about falling stars?
Oh, how about famously when Dana Carvey met Bush Senior, he said, "I hope I didn't cross the line." He's like, "No, didn't cross the line. Line not crossed."
You didn't do it. Didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Most people are just like cool with it. I mean, like Janet Reno came and did a thing with Will Ferrell, like
wow, yeah.
at the same time. Like she was just like, "Yeah, I'm 6'4". Like
Now, see, I've seen Will
most
make
people,
some.
most people are in it to win it. They want to be on television. They want to have more exposure. They want to have more whatever they're doing. So someone like, Palin will come on and be like, "Of course it's a joke. Don't worry about it, honey. But here I am.
And
Now I've got a couple of million people looking at me, and I'll be in the papers all week."
Yeah.
So they know what's happening. It's all a good spin.
Right.
But this one was weird because I was like immediately, maybe my emotions have changed over the years, but I immediately was like, "Ooh, don't do that." Like I saw the picture of Sarah with big ass teeth, and I'm like, "Oh, don't do that. That's a her. That's totally like punching down." Because you tell that girl is just emotional about that thing.
When she dies, and like if she was a horrible character on the show, it would have been much easier to be like, "Oh, that girl with the teeth." But like she's really sympathetic. She dies in it, and then like, "Ooh."
I know the whole English fucking shit about bad teeth. It's like, come on, America, cut the fucking shit.
Yeah, they've been making that joke for a long time.
They do have fucked up teeth, though.
And then I was like, well, I remember when Dana Carvey did that Chinese character, and then he had an insane, crazy Chinese character, so I had to match him.
Raj, what's the name
and I was
of
yelling
that?
at him, so I had to go bigger than him. I had to go bigger with this terrible Chinese character.
Me and Wainio wrote that on purpose, right?
Wainio wrote that as a joke, as a bit.
I helped him.
You helped them, yeah.
Yeah.
She can make Lousy House Pet too with Horatio, featuring Horatio Sanz. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and it was like, this is just insane that we're doing this on television at this point, because it was already way out of it was like borderline back in 1985 or 86 or whatever it is.
90.
But compared to 2003 or whatever, it was like, you should move on from that. Like the whole crazy buck teeth and shit.
So
I got the whole story. So he came. Yeah, me and Wainio were like talking about it before he came and hosted. I'm like, have you ever seen Ching Chang? He's like, oh, this is our favorite character he ever did, Ching Chang.
That's the worst
I was like,
name.
You think he'll do it?
Offensive name.
I was like, we got to do Ching Chang. He's like, I said, we got to do Ching Chang this week. He's like, he won't do it. And so he came in. I'm like, hey, man, we love Ching Chang. You think you do? He's like, you like that character? I was like, yeah.
Of course, Dana's going to say yes. Why did everyone else say yes?
We never thought that was going to make it. That shit made it in the whole show. It made it in the show. It made it in the show. We never thought it was going to make it. That was just for a joke for read through.
Yeah.
Jerry, how did you heighten from chicken makes lousy house pet? Where did you go
So
from there?
funny. Oh no, it ends in a musical. It ends with Ching Chang singing.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
he does sing at the end. So it's pathos at the end. But
It's the song. The song is Chicken Make Lousy House Pet. Chicken Make Lousy House Pet. They all come out at the end of the Parnell comes in at the end of the scene is like, I'd like you to do he's trying to make a play with the chickens.
He goes as a Broadway producer.
Not only do they, he's just like a rich man with a top hat. He's like, I'm a Broadway producer. He's like, I'd like to make a play with these. I'd like to produce a play with these chickens. He's like, really? Why did you do that? No reason. And he just sings a song. Chicken Make Lousy House Pet.
that's very much that era. No reason. Who was it? Parnell? Who was the head writer at that time?
Well, it was Wainio and Jerry.
Tina?
Tina
Wainio and Jerry wrote that.
And it was shared.
Who was the head writer?
Tina and Steele were the head writers, I think. Maybe. Carlock. Maybe
was
Carlock.
I don't remember Steele
maybe
being
Carlock.
head writer. Probably Carlock.
That's a good question.
No, Carlock. I don't think.
I know Seth was for a while, but that's I think after.
That was after I left. Yeah. I remember. Oh no, it was Tina and Adam, but
Seth.
Adam. It was McKay, but McKay that year took a weird.
I don't think they overlapped. They didn't overlap. Adam wasn't head writer that year. He was just doing films.
He was doing the films. He took a weird credit. He was supposed to be.
Falcon.
Yeah, he was head of falconry.
Only once did they slip that in. But yeah,
That's
he
right.
stayed on as writer, but stepped down as head writer.
That's right. So Tina, it was supposed to be shared from what I remember, and it was Tina. I feel like it was Steele. I don't know. Anyway,
it was Seth after a while.
It was Seth after a while. That was after. Yeah, that was the year after because he wasn't there when I was there. He wasn't even a writer when I was there.
It's so great when a cast member comes back to host, isn't it?
Oh
Isn't that
yeah,
the
I mean
best
that's they know what they're doing. I mean you're gonna get good stuff picked because the host is gonna he knows what it was like and he was like, oh, these are the good sketches that never got to go,
Right. Right.
So the host is gonna like champion that kind of shit, It's always a good show. Martin Short, it's always gonna be a good show if it's a former cast member. Yeah.
Alec Baldwin.
It's always a good show when it's Baldwin.
He just kind of gets the rhythm of the show.
Now the new guy,
the
the new great host is Nate Bargatze. Like every time he's on, it's funny shit. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I didn't. I got to watch it. I got it taped. I didn't watch it, and I'm friends with him, and I should have watched. I did a pilot with him a long time ago. It was really funny too.
Both things were good, especially that. That George Washington sketch that already occurred.
So that's really good, and he's like one of those new people that are good.
Ham loves it when he's there. You just last week he just like he loves doing comedy so much.
Yeah, you can tell. Baldwin's the same way.
Yeah.
I love that they made fun of it too. It's like, am I funny? And they kind of don't tell him he's funny. Am I finally funny or something? Then they're like, let's move on to something else. They make that joke. Like, let's not talk about that. And he's in on the joke, so it's pretty funny. So he is funny, turns out.
Now I've heard
Yeah,
Will
very funny.
say, long after the fact that he maybe shouldn't have gone after Reno that way, but whatever.
Well, she came and did it with him.
Yeah, no, yeah. Obviously, you brought that up, but he
Yeah,
did
man.
kind of. He gave it. I'm just saying he gave a soft retraction of that. That maybe it wasn't the best
Yes,
idea.
he did, and I felt bad because after I made this video and I made a point of like, because there was a time last year when they were like, oh, black men have to get in dresses to be funny, and nobody ever counted like all the white men that's been in dresses for years, and nobody ever says anything to them, you know. But I was
And
looking at
cartoon
that, and I was,
characters.
what's
Come
that?
on, Bugs Bunny. You can't get through a Bugs Bunny cartoon without him putting a dress on.
Oh yeah,
So it goes for everybody.
everybody,
All me.
yes. It's a Also, it's like it's a comedy thing. It was a comedy thing. People thought it was funny. I didn't think it's that funny, but obviously, but it's not a humiliation ritual. But
And plus, on a
Yeah,
show
cheap.
that's written, they're writing stuff for you that you don't necessarily agree with, but you
yeah,
gotta
it's not
do
like
so.
yeah.
But
That's
there's
more their point of like they're constantly trying to get you to play a woman, right? To humiliate you. And I'm like, well, yeah, but
yeah, subconsciously, but
yeah,
sometimes it's called for.
I mean, dressing up dressing up like a woman is the least way that I've been humiliated. That's on the
Let's put it
lowest
that
part of the
way.
world, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, one of the points I was making was that sometimes it's for the comedy. And who else would have played Janet Reno on Saturday Night Live? Nobody else was that tall. She's taller than
Right.
everybody, not just
Well, I guess, is that
women.
what they look
Everybody.
like? I guess it must have been in pictures too that she towered over
She did, yeah. You can
whomever
see. I
that was.
forgot I had a picture of it, but like she's the same height as Will.
That was
Wow.
starting to be a thing,
Yeah,
Well,
kind of as a dig. It was
Will's
also a
like
dig,
six
though.
four, 6'3".
yeah.
Remember, they had John Goodman doing
Linda Tripp.
Linda Tripp.
Well, Linda Tripp
Yeah.
was a fucking ogre of a human being, so that
No,
was
everyone
fine.
hated Linda Tripp at the time and thought she
Yes.
was an ogre. And they wanted to kind of grind it in. There's an inverted version of that going on now with Lauren
J.D.
Pepper, of
Vance.
course,
Or
making
no,
yeah
not J.D.
making what's his name? Yeah, go out and do J.D. Vance.
Or having a woman do a lot of the men characters. Like they had a woman doing or what's her face doing Sean Spicer, Melissa McCarthy,
Yes, yeah,
uh,
exactly.
and perfect.
There's
And
a
she was
reverse
perfect.
version of that going on. It was great. That
Um,
was a great bit.
Yeah.
I did a
The
live show
Spicer thing.
once where it was a bunch of all different comics doing impressions. It was during the election, all doing impressions of all the candidates, and it was crazy because they had like crazy people. And Fortune Femster did Trump. It was awesome. It was awesome. She did the whole thing. She had a suit and,
Yeah.
the hair and shit.
Yeah.
And it was awesome show because some people were like, and by the way, if anybody's watching, I'm going to be doing a interview with Dean Edwards, who's a real good impressionist, sometime after this at noon Pacific on the first episode of Playing the Back of the Room. Anyway, yeah, like some people do like really specific impressions, and some people just like get the whatever
Oh yeah.
the feeling of the
Right.
person, And that show
Yeah.
was like had both, It was like, oh, we had this woman
Mhm.
doing Trump, but then we had like, somebody else doing Bush, and yeah,
You know who's really good is Jay Moore.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I I I never really appreciated that part of his thing. I didn't really know about it, but
Yeah.
I knew that
He
he
wasn't
did.
savvy when he was on the
Obviously
show.
he did a Walken. Walken was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
Oh,
he's
he
a
had a good.
walking among walk-ins now, but Jay Moore is still one of the most spot-on walk-ins I've ever heard. I think Raj took it to space.
Yeah, he froze up. Oh, he's still coming back. Yeah, man. He that's I kind of like Jay Moore. I feel like that's what I knew him more from was his impressions. I remember seeing him and Elon Gold, which I know he was a comic impressionist. They used to work a lot like 20 years ago. I haven't seen a lot. I don't know where he's at now, but um,
And
that was when
I met him on the 50th anniversary. Fun dude. Very nice to see.
and you met him with his
Jeannie
wife,
Buss.
Jeannie. He was sitting right in front of us, and I didn't ask for tickets. I felt so stupid that
Well,
I didn't
she
know.
invited me, so if you ever want to go, I have to take her up on it.
I just went a couple weeks ago. Took my son
Sorry
to.
about that.
I know.
We
Paid a lot of money for those tickets.
could-
But LeBron
No,
played, so I was happy.
you gotta DM Jay Moore next time.
I know, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to get him on the play in the back of the room too. He's got a great book about his experience at SNL and
Yeah.
how he discovered that he had panic attacks. I think that was like the first place he had a panic attack was when he was working at SNL.
It's a really great book. I read it like in 3 days. I read it 2 days. I was in we were doing the year one movie in Louisiana. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was very fucking fascinating. And it's like, is it because it's like I understand exactly what he's going through? You know, it was just one thing after the other where you're like, oh yeah, oh I know, yes of course. Ooh, there's that.
Yep.
It's a pretty good book.
That's pretty cool. I gotta read that.
Yeah,
It's called Gasping for Airtime.
Nice. Good
And
title.
yeah, it's a really good experience. I mean, anybody that's been on SNL can relate. Anybody that's been like that had experience like me and him, or you've been there for a year, and there's a whole cast of people who've established themselves, and you're new. Um, that's where I really identify with it because he came in after the after the glory years, right? Like after Farley, he
but
was
yeah,
he
I think Farley and Sandler were either leaving or they was there last year, or they were
yeah,
even gone.
right,
So yeah,
Was Moore on for just one season?
yeah.
Maybe it
I
was a
think maybe
couple.
he might have been two.
Might have been a couple. Maybe one and a half or something like that.
Yeah,
Doesn't much matter.
yeah. But a huge cast. So hard to get your way in there.
One of the
Um,
best casts too. Maybe the best cast.
yeah. Who was he
maybe.
in with?
Arguably the best cast.
Who was he with?
Chris Farley,
Oh, right, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was still
Well,
in when.
Bill
there was a
Oberlin,
point where it was
Jen Hooks,
Farley, Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, right?
That's true.
All it was
Yeah.
like there was a point
Goldie
where
Hawn,
they were
Jenny Love,
all in
Laura
this
Dern.
place, and then it was like, all I remember is like Deep Thoughts. Deep Thoughts were in those years,
Jack
And
and those
Handy.
were like I think those were like 85, 87, something like that.
no, that's 90s.
90.
Are they really? So it's like
Yeah,
right
that's
Yeah.
'90s.
early
That's
'90s.
'90s. Yeah, the Schmeigel years when Conan was there. Lorne didn't come
Schmeigel
back till
years, man.
'85.
Fucking everybody, man.
Lorne didn't
Um,
come back till '85, '86, and that was a whoa season. And then '86, '87,
well,
we start
85,
picking up.
86 is when Lord came back.
'85,
He came
'86.
back with
Yeah,
that
it took.
crazy cast.
Yes,
Yeah.
where he used knowns instead of unknowns, which is what Dick Ebersol had just done. I thought Lorne was going to go the other way, but he didn't. He got veterans the same way that Dick had just gotten veterans when he had Billy Crystal, Martin Short, Christopher Guest, a lot of old horses.
And he
Harry
had done that,
Shearer.
and he had done that same kind of thing with the news show. So, which was kind of
Well,
like,
I thought it was appropriate for the new show.
yeah, but I'm saying, I think he brought in some of the news show that vibe by stunt casting,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Like
Randy
Anthony Michael
Quaid.
Hall, God bless him, but that's a fucking gimmick, you know.
I
Yeah.
thought Anthony
It's
Michael
like
Hall was
hiring Hulk
not a
Hogan.
good choice. I didn't think
It
that was a
felt like
good
too
choice.
his thing was like I'm gonna get young knowns. Like they were all those guys were real young, like Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Michael Hall.
Quaid?
Mhm.
Not
Yeah,
not Quaid.
all
Randy
very
Quaid was pretty
talented
young
dudes,
then,
but
yeah.
just an awkward fit. There was like, it's hard to make an intergenerational team. There has to
Terry
be some
Sweeney.
tie-in.
Terry Sweeney was the funniest one, and they didn't bring him back.
Did a great killer, Nancy Reagan.
Was he right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
And
a
it felt right.
terrifically mean. That was a great one. That was a
yeah.
great mean impression. That was so these, but Nancy Reagan isn't punching down; it's punching up.
That was punching
Um,
sideways.
well, if you're man on woman, that's considered sideways. But woman on woman, you're punching upwards.
I think Kids in the Hall was around by then, and you know they just played women with ease, and especially Scott Thompson. It's like, all right,
Yeah, I do have a number of them in my Rolodex to coming up on the show. By the way, if anybody hasn't heard, playing the back of the room, I've worked with a lot of them.
Who them?
With
Who
Kevin.
Rolodex?
Oh, they're gonna be
Kids in the Hall.
yeah, Kids in the Hall.
Ooh, that's good.
I got Scott, Kevin, and I still haven't talked to the leader. The leader. their leader. Their Mo. Dave.
Dave.
Dave. Yeah.
Dave the Mo?
Mo. Is Dave the
You don't-
Mo?
You don't
I
think
don't think
Dave is the
Dave's
Mo?
I think the other little one is more the Mo.
Kevin?
Dave and Kevin were
Oh,
a team.
oh,
I just saw the Kids
oh,
in the Hall
Bruce?
documentary, and it's
Bruce. Is
You
it
think
Bruce?
Bruce is the Mo?
From watching what I've watched and watching him, he seems more like the pain in the ass kind of guy that wants to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for Bruce. He was a showrunner. He created the show that I was on, but he, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's just the way it appeared. That's just the way that I saw it, and this is not coming from any kind of knowledge.
Raj, watch that Kids in the Hall documentary that just came out. It's very cool.
What's it on?
I think it's on Netflix or Amazon, one of those.
Yeah,
it's on one of the big ones.
I hate when people recommend you some shit. It's on Stars Plus.
I know.
Go check it out. It's like at some point you gotta say no to these people.
It's on Tubi. Oh, really? Well, I won't be watching that.
It's on Tubi Extra. $5 a month, but if you watch 4 shows, I mean, it makes up for like the 50 cents. I'm like, too much. Making me jump through one more hoop. I'm up already. Hello, dudes.
Have you watched the Black Mirror episode about the
yes
subscription?
Yeah.
People are like emotionally tied to that episode because they are so fucking tired of subscription shit.
Yeah,
they gonna make your life subscription. Yes.
We're talking about a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I forgot.
Not to spoil it, but it's Rashida Jones and that other chap,
Chris O'Dowd.
Australian. Yeah, Chris O'Dowd. And she gets a disease that a company invents something that could keep her alive. She's about to die. And this company invents something they can install in her brain that can keep her alive. Basically, storing her memory so that she can keep on living. Right?
Right.
Yep.
Kind of downloading her memory. And so so they pay like $300 a month for this thing. And they're like, well, it's hard to pay for. But then she starts getting like commercials in her head, and she starts doing commercials to people. Like she's just like school, and she's like, "Yeah, make your teeth bright and shiny."
I love it. She's doing these commercials. Like, well, yeah, that's if you want the non-commercial version, you got to pay.
Yeah.
That's a good
pretty
premise.
good satirization of the whole situation.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
now that you've given that away,
you
pretty much said the whole plot.
You spoiled that one.
I guess I did.
I want to read more comedian biographies. I love them. I love that
You
Tom Davis biography.
Tom, yes. So Tom came to guest right when I was at SNL. I really got along with him. We became friends. He at that point he would just come in to guest right to keep his health insurance. He had a farm upstate. He let a house upstate. He grew weed
Was
up
it
there.
Hudson, New York? He
Yep,
settled in, I think.
yep, exactly right.
Yeah.
So he and Franken were like on opposite path. At that point, Franken was like writing the.
Senator.
He wasn't a senator yet in 2000.
Okay,
He was writing
I
the books,
see.
and then he was writing the Rush Limbaugh's A Fat Idiot books.
Raj was there. That's not the one where he did Saturday Night Live, is it?
What's
I
that?
think so. Yeah, we talked about this last week.
He just some gag where it's like Tom. Maybe not. Maybe that was a Tom cameo. So Jerry, go on to
He
what
was
you
writing
were
that
saying.
week. He was writing that
He
week, so
wrote
he
that
would
week.
be in sketches if you wanted him to.
No, but I
Like, and if
think
he wanted
Saturday
it.
Night. I think the Saturday Night Live was a different one, Raj.
May have been. He would
Oh, but
come.
he
He
came
would
back
come.
to guest right, so he was there for a while. He
He
was on the staff.
Yeah, and he would come like once or
Yes.
twice a year.
He would come
Every
like twice
year.
a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. I see.
And we loved
And
it, of course. We loved it. He
Raj,
was
you wrote
always
with
very
him too.
funny.
Did he write with you on that Aykroyd? Milo and I were looking at some YouTube clips. We're watching the Leatherman, and on comes Dan Aykroyd, and this
Yeah.
Leatherman's getting nothing. No one's buying it, but Aykroyd's
Those two,
loving it. Aykroyd's
yeah.
just loving it. You can
Aykroyd
tell.
comes in with such joyous energy, and his name was Judge Lindenwell. He's the town judge. He's the freakiest fucker of them all, bringing his family to get all leathered up.
He's the town judge.
And the cool thing was that those two, basically Aykroyd was hanging out that week because he was hanging out and getting high with Tom Davis, so they were writing. So God knows what they were writing, but they were just getting high, and you can smell it. God bless them. But something did come out of it.
Yeah.
Other than this mistake, there was more to it. But it was in any case, even if he hadn't killed it, we all loved him, and it was always a pleasure to see him. And then
He
we'd hang out with Jimmy, and we'd go out to dinner, and he'd always tell us fun shit about the show,
he
old
had a
stories.
great energy that he brought that was like that early energy, like, oh, this is what they were doing, like he was like always having fun, like, hey, let's go up on the roof and smoke some weed and then we'll come up with this. Because at that point when we were there, it's like, especially for the writers, like, I got to get my shit out, I got to write, and he would just be like carefree and like, cause he's like, oh, I'm not going to get my shit on this week. That's my attitude. And he'd be like, who cares if you get anything on? Of course he didn't, because he's just guest writing, but he'd be like,
I think it was like
so we're gonna,
it was an unwritten rule when I was there that you didn't just smoke in the room.
right,
You didn't smoke in the offices,
right.
and no one smoked.
Yeah.
Everyone just drank their dicks off, especially that whole crew. So I guess that's why no one really smoked. And plus,
Yeah, I
if you
think that
smoke
kind of
weed,
that kind of changed a little bit later, right? Because I think there's a few people there
eventually, yeah,
that,
mostly Amy, I think, maybe spearheaded that change, where she had a
Keenan.
very far
Oh
office,
yeah.
so it wouldn't smell necessarily up the rest of the office because she was the last one out there,
Uh-huh.
almost in a different show. And then she had a window that would open, so she would
Oh,
smoke out there. So anybody wanted to smoke weed, to be like, hey, knock on the door and come in. But that was like, yeah, that was the end of my years of the show. So that's when it started changing. And also
yeah,
Keenan, not Keegan.
Keenan.
Keenan, I think Keenan is a regular smoker,
Yeah.
which is incredible because he's just very sharp on air.
Well,
I
when the
don't
bands
get
wanted
those
I know
people.
the band smoked whenever they wanted to.
They
They
did,
weren't going to
yes.
stop the bands from smoking.
Yeah, but
That's
I'm
true.
talking about like writing the show.
Sure.
Like no one smoked weed really, or no one really smoked in the rooms. So when someone did come on, like Snoop Dogg would come on Conan or something, or come on our show, it would smell up the whole floor, and people would be like, "Oh my god!"
Jerry, what
You
did
know.
you write with Tom Davis?
And nothing that got on. We wrote a Farrakhan sketch. And he was the only person because I was just like, oh, I do Farrakhan. He's like, oh, I'll write it because nobody else would be like, I'm not doing that shit. It's never gonna get on.
Of course, Tom Davis is unafraid.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I forgot we wrote something else too. Maybe we did get something on. Maybe it did an update. Yeah, did he write that update? I did an update as OJ. That he might have been. He might have helped me write that.
Well, we mentioned Lorne coming back. Of course, that year when Lorne came back, Tom Davis and Al Franken and Davis were the producers of the show. And
Right.
On the last episode, I think, yeah, when Lorne lights the whole cast on fire, they cut to the bar. It's Franken and Davis as the bartenders. And I can't remember who's at the bar, but there's just kind of a shoo moment. And they go, yeah, imagine how we feel. We're the producers. And they're just behind the bar, just cleaning glasses.
What cast was
They both
that?
have it.
No,
They
I
work
can't
together
remember
so
that
well
cast.
that
They all
eventually
bleed into each other like with everybody in the
Yeah.
world.
their voice became the same. They both developed that Franklin and Davis voice.
Yeah.
The driest. I loved those guys. They were the driest of the dry. They were in the spirit of Bob and Ray.
Yes. Yeah. I think they probably took a lot from them.
Because if you're waiting for a punchline, guess what? It was at the beginning of the bit. There's going to be some funny bits along the way, but they were.
I mean, is that who Newhart got it from?
Newhart stole his act from
The whole thing.
Shelley
I
Berman.
mean, who are the first to improvise live on seemingly improvise on television? Horatio.
That would be all those guys. I think they all improvised a little, especially Jack Benny. But
Is that right?
as far as pure improv, I don't know. I think they winged it a lot. In the golden age, it was live. Didn't have playback. Whatever they did on radio, they just kind of tried to do just sort of a version of that, but with pictures now.
Well, obviously, it's less fun if there's no audience, right? So whatever you did, you'd have to have an audience.
A lot of the
And they're
radio
not,
had an
they're
audience.
jazzed up to go see something. You're seeing an act, and those guys know how to do it. They've probably done it enough where it's like whatever they set up, it's going to be it's going to be perfectly lobbed back, whatever is said by one of them. That's what's nice about seeing those guys. It's like even if you think they're not going to be funny, it's just the way they're comfortable and the way they like say the perfect kind of thing. It's really.
They get into that rhythm. Those guys like Hope and George Burns, they would get into this rhythm, and it was like they could do no wrong. They're just riding that wave.
Who was Jack Benny really good friends with? Oh, was George
Probably
Burns and Jack Benny
nobody,
good friends?
Right?
He seemed to have everybody on his show. He had, but I don't know. I don't know who his buddy was.
No, but George Burns had a. It was
Gracie.
No, well, Gracie died a while ago, but he was friends with. Oh shit! It's coming to me.
I got to read more biographies.
One of those things that's like he lost Gracie, and then this fucker died, and so it's like his pal for 40 years died. The audience is probably screaming it.
I just watched
your mom probably knows.
Nobody's that old.
I just watched the Sunshine Boys. That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, goodbye.
So, Jerry?
Well, I think it was Jack Benny. Oh. That's it. I'm just going to say it was Jack Benny. It was George Burns' best friend.
It was George Burns. It was George
And their
Burns,
friends were and their wives were best friends, that kind of thing.
By the way, I want to also promote, if anybody happens to be in Los Angeles on April 21st, well, wait a minute, what's going on? Oh, I'm going to be doing the. Sorry,
That's okay.
yeah. I'll be doing the black version show at Groundlings. And I know I talked about Groundlings before and said like how much I didn't like doing the show.
How much you hate?
It's
How
not-
much you hate it? No,
hate
no.
it.
You didn't
No,
say
I
it.
hate it. It's just like not. I don't feel like I'm good at it. And I definitely not as good as those guys are at it. Well, obviously they do the show every week, and it just makes the point of like if you're a cast, even if you're doing improv, um, it's it makes all the difference in the world of people who do it together all the time. You know.
Yeah, and it's all about teamwork as well there. So someone's always there in game, ready to go. So they know what they're doing.
But anyway,
Good night, everybody.
yeah. April 21st. What's that? Next Tuesday. I'm gonna be doing the show with them at the Groundlings Theater. Black version. Black version is Cedric Yarborough. You see Phil Lamar. I gotta get everybody's name. Gary Anthony Williams, Jordan Black, Danielle Gaither. All really funny people. All people that have been on television and writers and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
a
the
powerhouse cast.
It's pretty cool, the show that they do. I mean, it's like its own. That's why I say it's its own thing. So the idea is that the audience gives a suggestion of a movie, and the cast does a black version of whatever movie that is.
Very,
And
very good.
it has
Very cool idea.
it's a weird. It has this like audience that comes every week.
Yeah.
It's got its own audience. They followed them around. They followed them from in different venues, but it's the same audience every week. That was another thing that was hard for me too, because I was just like, how much are you going to enjoy this? I see the same faces every week, but they really they come geared up with the movie that they want to see. Sometimes they're fighting. The audience is fighting about it beforehand. Like what movie they want to see that week. So it's like their thing.
There are
Yeah.
niche audiences.
Yeah.
Let
It's
that
very
be a
much-
lesson to you guys out there. If anybody's out there who's trying to get their groove on as far as show business, there's niches. A lot of niches out there. Right, Delaney?
It's very niche. I should know. I'm the host of the SCTV podcast.
It's very niche to be nice.
Super niche. So niche. Extra niche.
It's so niche to be nice. My
Canadian,
friends.
obscure Canadian TV show that went off the air 40 years ago. It's very niche.
What's
You don't wanna hang your-
oh yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to hang your hat on that. You don't want to.
Well, I do what it's called. It's very nice. Where I go to Nice, France, and I try all the gastro pubs I can find. You can
That's
watch. You
niche.
can watch that on YouTube. It's very nice.
Now you live in a barrel, you say. In France.
Most of the time, I do. Yeah. Well,
So-
I just try. I like to save my life. I like to save all my energy and keep it in a barrel.
One of the viewers said that he thought Milton Berle was Jack Benny's friend.
I don't think
No,
so.
Burl didn't have any friends. I don't think so.
No, Burl had no friends.
Bert's only his only friend was his penis.
I was gonna say
Just-
that. You know
yeah.
what my friend is? My cock.
We covered Burl. Yeah, we did cover
Ow!
Burl, I think, last couple of weeks.
That thing out of here,
Ow!
creepy old bastard.
Well, you don't like him?
Oh, suck my cock. Suck my cock.
Well, Burl was famous for being a thief.
Joke
And,
thief, right?
Jack Benny was famous for being a skinflint. But the facts were that Jack Benny was not a skinflint. He was actually a very generous man. That was just the act. And Burl actually was a dick, and he was a thief.
Like a joke that he would steal people's jokes.
Yeah.
No, he was a car thief.
No, he's or
Get drunk, steal their cars,
Yeah,
joyride,
he was convicted
Joyride.
for grand
and
larceny.
then smash them up. Then the fucking Hollywood police would come in and help everybody out. Like nothing happened.
Yeah, he
Uh,
stole Walter Bendix's Pontiac, and
yeah, and
William
tried to drive
Bendix.
it off
William,
Shakespeare Bridge. He tried to
I
drive
said
it off
Walter
Shakespeare Bridge. It
Bendix.
just hit the pillar.
It's
Living in
William
LA, you
Bendix's
hear
brother.
stories like that all the time. There's this the LA Athletic Club on Hollywood Boulevard. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's like a party place. It used to be a party place, but everybody. I always hear these stories about John Wayne in that place. Like, oh yeah, he used to throw billiard balls out the window here.
I heard that for Biggie. Like there was the first confrontation. There was a fight between Biggie and Tupac's people. Is that familiar?
Yes.
Like it was a BET Awards
Yeah.
at that same club,
At that
and
club.
something
Uh huh.
happened.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
so yeah,
messed up.
it's always you get out, and also now that I'm very creepy. I used to be when I was around there, as I would if I went to the art museum, I'd go to that intersection where Biggie was killed, and I'd be like, right now we're parked exactly where he was shot. So
Right there.
that car in front stopped, like it stopped now, and they couldn't go forward, and they shot. And that guy in the front was probably involved, of course. But it's right there on the corner of Fairfax
Wilshire.
and what
Wilshire.
and Wilshire. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're at the Auto Museum.
Yep.
That's another creepy location. Sorry, Delaney.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
that,
Raj, you've been
man.
to a lot of scenes of the crime, have you?
Have I been to him?
A lot of scenes of the crime, various
Well,
crimes.
only when we did that podcast where I did in my podcast we did crime scene that crime scene thing
You
where
and Jake and Dorf went
we
to
go to
Manson
we went to we
House.
went to the OJ house, and we went to,
That
or
was
Which
what
isn't
pretty.
was
there.
it?
Isn't
It
there.
was
But
kind of.
yeah.
It
And
was
we
a
went
great
to
episode, I gotta say.
we drove up to the Manson house, the Sharon Tate, I guess you'd call it Tate, Tate murders,
Used to
Tate
walk my dog.
LaBianca.
Used to walk my dog past there every day. It was my old neighborhood, or yeah.
Yeah, you used to say that your dog would chew on. There would like fingers would come out of there. The dog would chew.
Well, all I was thinking about, because I lived in that neighborhood, I still got a place in that neighborhood. Is that when they left, they hitchhiked, and they were walking around like that reservoir where I live at, and they were just like walking around the neighborhood, and I can just like imagine them like that's where I walk around. And they were just like aimlessly like we just killed those people, and we just
Yeah,
got a ride down the street.
Hey, California's a weird place. I think people have been killed on just about every hill.
That is true. That is definitely true. Yep.
Am I
Yep.
wrong, Raj? Am I wrong?
You are not
no,
wrong.
no, no,
Kilt,
no.
kilt on it, kilt on
There was a
kilt for each hill.
there was a kill. There was a kill in Echo Park. There was a body left in Echo Park. I think it was one of those hillside strangler guys. But
Uh,
yeah, there was one left on the hill by my house, my old house. If you want to go up to Laurel Canyon, there's a lot of deaths up there. Lenny Bruce, um,
I shot
and the
at the
Wonderland murders. The
I shot
Wonderland
at the
murders
black
are up there.
I shot at the Black Dahlia house a few years ago.
really?
Um,
It's very nice.
Was
It's a
it?
really cool like
it's a.
Japanese architecture house.
Is it the photographer's house, Man Ray?
I thought he was a doctor.
Oh yeah, there was a creepy doctor, but I think
Man
And
Ray
then
did
Ray
a
was
lot of
involved.
stuff.
I don't think anybody's actually lived in it in a long time. Like it was just being used for production for a while, I think. Somebody might have it now, but it's a beautiful house. Beautiful. I mean, it's like gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks great from
But
outside,
but your
but the
vagina's
horrors
too
lie
if your
inside.
vagina's too small, somebody might get frustrated.
Good
Is that,
lord.
is that historical?
That was the story, which doesn't make any sense.
That makes no.
He was
That's not
he
real.
was frustrated that their vagina was too small.
Um, I think his wiener was too small. To be honest, I think he's more. I think now to look back, I think he was lying. I think
Their
he was
wieners were too
angry
small,
he was angry
and
at the fact that he
and
couldn't get his wiener rise, and that's
yeah, they
first
could
thing you do
because
is you start hacking
that's
at the person who's causing you frustration.
Yeah, that would come
people
out.
can't get it up. They make
Cutting,
excuses.
precise cuts across the abdomen.
That was his prison story. No, no, it was just too small. Oh,
Oh yeah, that happens.
What was that
uh,
George Burns line about trying to have sex? He's like, no, I don't have sex anymore. It's like trying to shoot pool with a rope.
that's pretty funny.
That joke is probably as old as billiards. As old as the invention of billiards, someone had that one.
It's as old as George Burns. I thought George Burns was never going to die.
Well, because he
I
was kind
loved
of
it. I was
he
hoping
was
he was going
born
to make it
old.
to 105.
He just lived forever and ever. Seemed like it would go
Didn't he
on
make
and
it
on.
to like 99? Is that what happened?
Something like
Let me
that.
look.
I
He
think he
got
Let me
did.
look
pretty
at
Yeah.
the
old.
bozo feeder.
And he was still going. He was still going. He played God. He was the most convincing guy to play God in Oh God.
Oh God, book
In
two.
the, in the history of films and anything, he was the most convincing God.
Oh God, you devil.
Oh God, you devil. Oh God, you devil. Oh, he played the devil too in that one. That's right. He was his.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think they could have got someone else. They should have got someone else. They
Who?
should have got
George
Walter
Burns
Matthau
playing
or something.
George Burns
Cosby.
playing God. It was no surprise to anybody. But John Denver playing the main lead. But he had an acting career. He had a big TV career.
John Denver did. He sure did. And
He super
he
Especially
big
kind
in
of
the
with the
played.
70s.
Muppets. He did a lot of Muppet stuff too.
He yes. He kind of played himself. He had a kind of a
Hmm.
goofy character that he always was when he was acting.
It
Yeah,
was
he
basically,
was
he
the
was just sweet. He was just a sweet guy.
Very
Was
very
basically
nice
his shtick.
guy.
Like he
Here's
wasn't
the
even funny, really.
it's a
Right? If you
weird.
think about it,
No, he wasn't funny
it's
at
just that.
all. That show was
But he
like.
had some songs, so he had fans because of his songs, and he was kind of country,
Hmm.
and then that was a kind of a thing that was getting big at the time. Remember when
He kind
yeah.
country
of came
got
off
big?
as
I
Man?
like
like
Cat.
half hippie, half country too. Like he was like just a
Yes,
nice hippie
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
yeah.
but he was like still mainstream. It's funny because
But once
He was
again,
more
he was
nature.
addicted
He
to the
was more,
drink.
but he was a nature boy more than country. Because country, you think, is kind of the South, and he was Colorado and all about nature.
He was an alcoholic.
He died in his own experimental airplane. He flew. He
he
tried to
did.
fly too close to the sun, like in his song "Rocky Mountain High."
I think he ran out of fuel. I think he didn't check the
No,
fuel.
he didn't just run out of gas, did he? That's it.
I,
I believe
well,
so.
it was experimental. So, but it's weird. This weird thing that when I was growing up, there was a rumor. I was a Jehovah's Witness, as people may know, but the rumor with all the Jehovah's Witnesses was that he hated them. That he would make them stand up at his concerts and leave. And I think that might have not just been a rumor. I think he might have got. I think the thing was the way that the rumor got became a rumor. The information got wrong. I think may have gotten mad at a Jehovah's Witness who didn't stand because I think he would play the national anthem at his
Uh-oh.
concerts.
Oh, okay.
And Jehovah's Witnesses don't stand for the national anthem, so I think he got mad and told them to leave if they wouldn't stand for the national anthem. The
Okay.
rumor became that
That's
he would
harsh.
ask them. It got mixed up, and he would just get Jehovah's Witnesses in the crowd and tell them to leave right away. Then the rumor became that he came on the Carson show, and Johnny Carson um, took him to task about it, and none of that shit happened. That Johnny Carson was like, "You don't like Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, my my
I can't. I
my
can't
housekeeper.
ever imagine
My
him bringing that up
no,
on the air.
didn't even fucking know what they
So
were.
really,
So,
it's
so I
disrespectful. She
understand
really
you.
should be
Well,
respected. Just like any religion, really. I mean, Catholicism, Judaism, it's just very hurtful things to those people, and those people are my fans as much as anybody else. So, the hell, why did you do that? Why?
I'm a Raj. I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna put it in the Jehovah Witness circles. They're gonna die. They're gonna die laughing. They're gonna die, man. I heard you don't like the JWs. Don't like them. Hate them. Hate their
don't
guts.
care for them.
Well, Ed doesn't know. Ed doesn't know which side to be on. They don't like to drink.
Hate their
Boo.
guts.
All right, Ed, calm down. We're talking about something different right now.
Heretics.
I don't like birthdays. All right, Ed, calm down. Not about that kind of thing.
Take it easy, Ed.
Witnesses. We all have wacky origin stories. You know, Ed believes some chick gave birth to Jesus by herself.
So, that was another one of Dana Carvey where I was just like, I don't know if it was the best impression, but to me,
It was
I
so
mean,
funny.
Horatio's too.
No, I
Did you
do
ever?
his.
Horatio's doing the Carvey version.
I'm doing the
Raj
Dana
has the
Carvey.
best one. Raj has the best one of the three of us.
You did Carson on SNL once,
Did
did you?
something on a failed update.
Yes,
I
that's
did.
right.
Really?
It was Johnny Carson who's fat as me because he hadn't been on the air for a couple of years. He's like,
How you
I
doing?
just let go, I relax a little bit. Start enjoying some of the things that maybe I hadn't indulged in back then. For one, I'm a big fan of buttermilk shakes.
That was one of those things we used to watch in the. We used to watch the writers would watch it because it was just with the dress, right? I don't think it got on air.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to watch.
And then later, we, me and a guest star, Will Ferrell, and a few others, we had a mini film festival of our worst bombs, and that was mine.
That was.
Mine was the Johnny Carson, Fat Johnny Carson. Will had, I remember Will's was the Gabe Kaplan sketch where he looked. It's an office setting, right? The John Goodman, and he looks exactly like Gabe Kaplan from Welcome Back, Kotter. Like, so this is 2000, whatever, and he's got the brown corduroy, big mustache. And then
he did that sketch. He did it on the air on Seth or Jimmy or one of those shows. They do this
yeah,
thing where it's theater.
yeah, that was his. That was
It's
like no one got on board. Everyone was like, not a fucking peep from anybody. It's like the joke is that we're like, hey, yeah, you just missed it. Gabe Kaplan was here. He's like, what? Yeah, he was here. He said hi to everybody. I guess he was like looking for another place, but he was a very nice guy. He's like,
And no one told me.
what? No one thought to come get me? We didn't know where you. I was in the kitchen. I was just like right there. You could have just said, hey. Every day I come here just like it was like no. People are just like, not today, friends. Not today.
That's
I
funny.
forget how much, but yeah, we had like 4 of them that we showed them, just like our shittiest fucking fails.
You know
Gabe
what?
Kaplan.
It was just the
Gabe Kaplan's still
audience was
alive,
too
by the
young.
way.
The audience is too young. They
Is he
just
really?
didn't know who Gabe Kaplan
I
was.
thought he died recently.
Oh,
Who, Kaplan?
if you did, it was really recent.
I'm not Googling it.
I'm not googling that. Yeah, I just saw him
yeah.
actually not too long ago. Yeah. Oh no, he did die.
He's 80 years old. He's still alive.
Kaplan was a world-class
Professional
poker player.
as well.
I remember
Yeah.
the Battle of the Network Stars, watching him beat Robert Conrad in the sprint, and I thought that was pretty impressive because Robert Conrad was Mr. Tough Guy. He had the battery on his shoulder. Come on, knock it off! I dare you.
And he was
Can
a
you tell
dick.
the viewer to knock the battery off his
And he was a
shoulder?
competitive dick. So he's like, you're like, oh, I don't like this guy. I don't like him on TV. I don't like him in real life. He's even worse. Like
And you
getting
got
pissed
Gabe
off at
Kaplan,
like
this like Gabe
get
Kaplan
pissed
is like
off
a
at Joyce
living
DeWitt
version
for
of one of
stepping on the line while she's doing a race or something. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you, maniac?
Well, he's team
Gabe
captain.
Kaplan's like, fuck you, dude. I'm tall. I can fucking run. And he kicked his ass. Gabe
he
Kaplan
smoked
kicked
him.
I
Robert
I rem-
Conrad's ass.
I remember.
Robert Conrad?
Yeah, Conrad. Robert, yeah, yeah.
Who was the fat guy? Who
Oh,
played
that's Robert Conrad. That was
That's
the
canon.
Cannon.
Didn't I just
Cannon.
say that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
they're both Robert Conrad?
Wow,
Hang
are
on.
they?
Cannon. Who played Cannon?
Well, this is
Cannon.
turning into just a Google
I know.
event.
Who played
I
Cannon
probably got
in
the
the
I probably
70s
got the
TV show?
name wrong. Raj, I like that lighting you
William
got when you look
Conrad.
stuff up.
William Conrad.
William
What's
Conrad.
that?
There you go.
That's it, William. When you Google stuff, Raj, your eyes
William.
light up like the man with X-ray eyes. With your glasses. You know those kind of glasses you can buy?
Yeah.
You press the button.
Like in the comic books?
Yeah, when you take your phone up to your face, your eyes light up.
Let me get it in my ear. I'm in the sunniest place in the world and I'm just making it as dark as I can around me.
It's true. Yeah. And me, I'm in a gloomy basement, but look it, I got a nice light background. I think Jerry's
I
got
don't.
it right. Jerry's got a nice
Jerry's
warm.
got it right.
He's got the warm environment. Mine's ice cold.
Well, I got a lot of stuff going because I use this for my audition. So there's like crazy lights and
It has to
Studio.
look
all
good.
kinds. Yeah, there's. Let me see. I got these lights and
Mm.
a mic and
So Jerry,
Shit, that's what you need, Delaney.
when you self-record, Jerry, what's your background? The one we're looking at now?
yep. I can. This is a standing desk, so I can raise this so it actually looks a little bit better. You can't see that stuff.
Yeah, you could get automatic green screens, right?
You can. I got a green screen in around here somewhere. But yeah,
But you could probably even do it.
I
You
really
know-
should put up a green screen.
after casting and looking at a bunch of self tapes, I kind of
Yeah.
got the idea. That helped me out the most. I'm like looking at people's. I'm like, okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Up against a flat wall, not good. Try to get some distance behind you, as in any picture. It just flattens out the picture. It just doesn't help you.
I see.
Yeah, try to get some depth, any kind of depth behind you. I ended up doing one. I auditioned for one. I set up the shot as it would look. I didn't even do it like like the audition style. I just set the shot up. It was supposed to be in a hotel room, and they actually copied my shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a creative shot?
No, I
Yeah.
thought it looked shitty, but I was just like, I want to make it look the most like it would if I was doing this, and I'm like, oh, well, I can make it look like this. I'm just sitting on the bed, and I'll do the shot, and I think that the actual thing was I was supposed to be outside the hotel, but I'm like, this is good enough. Like I'm at a hotel, so I'll just sit on the bed, and they ended up changing the shot to where I wasn't standing up. I was actually sitting on the bed.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
She was just like, oh, well, let's just do that. That looks good. But yeah, you really do help yourself out a lot. No matter what, you think like, you just tape yourself or whatever. They're not looking at it, and it makes a big difference. And when you're going through hundreds of self tapes, and you're like, 1 second, no, I got a bunch of shit to watch. I'm not watching
And then you
everything.
get annoyed, right? So if you're like, if
Yeah.
someone's like fucking around, you're just like, I don't got the time.
That
Mhm.
really,
Just
it
do it
really
right.
annoys you
Keep
if
your
somebody like
volume.
doesn't do it right, or is like
Yeah.
improvising,
No, get
Yeah.
to it. Just get on with it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
This is Delaney's. Delaney wants this background.
The old fire hall. Yeah.
Yep. The old fire hall in Toronto. We're both Jerry
That
and
was
I played. Jerry did a whole full shebang up there. But when I was suspended, I went down there and we did improv together at that old fire hall, which is great.
Raj was there right when they were closing it, so he was like, they were taking the shut out the walls, and we were like hanging out at the theater still. Like,
oh
the
my
place was
God.
like, it was going down because they weren't going to fix
It was being
anything.
ransacked. You could have ransacked the joint
Yeah,
I
well,
could
yeah.
have.
for posters and such.
I should have taken a piece of the wall. I should have just taken a big sledgehammer backstage and just knocked off a piece of the wall. For
I
what
got a
they
whole
ended up
box
doing
of
with
shit
it?
from the fire hall.
For what they ended up doing with it, I should have ran a whole goddamn wrecking ball through the joint.
What, they turned it into a cancer club.
I got a.
Oh yeah. Well, that was
They
I got
turned
it
it
mixed
into
up.
They
I was
turned
thinking
it
of.
into
I guess I
Gilda's
was
club.
thinking.
I got a piece of the stage floor somewhere. They cut the floor up and gave it to all of us. Gave it to the cast.
I got a piece of Gilda's Club.
Wow.
Yeah, somewhere around here.
I
You
knocked a
adopted,
piece of
but
brick
it's
off the Gilda's Club in Manhattan.
I know. They've been searching for the guy who did that still.
It was Tony. It was like the COVID, so no one really knew.
No one was on the streets.
And
Hey,
if they
how
were, they were
real
wearing
is COVID?
masks. Everyone was wearing masks. It was like the Wild West.
Right.
So we didn't shoot each other.
So for anybody that doesn't know, the old fire hall was the original theater where Second City was in Toronto, where John Candy and all those people started out in
Marty Short, Gilda Radner,
75.
Levy, Dan Aykroyd,
Valerie
Valerie
Bromfield.
Bromfield.
And they ended up having to move in 98, I believe that was when I was up there. They built another theater in kind of the theater district in Toronto, not far from the Sky Dome. And then they ended up moving out of that theater into Wayne Gretzky's old restaurant. And I think that's still where it's at, I think, in Toronto, in Second City.
And that's where you
Uh,
directed your last show up there, Jerry?
I haven't
the
directed,
Gretzky
no.
place?
I directed
She performed it. She wrote and
Chicago.
performed the show.
Yeah, I was in the cast in Toronto.
I thought you just directed one a couple of years ago.
That was Dorf.
No, that was
Oh, that's
Dorf
Kevin.
Jerry directed one in Chicago.
Yeah,
did
we
Dorf-
saw the Chicago. Maybe
Dorf
I'm
directed
thinking of the
Toronto?
Chicago one.
Dorf directed Toronto, yeah, like at the end of his time at Second City.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
As he
Yeah.
was leaving, he was like, I'll go do that and check that out. And then he got Conan after that.
Yes, that's right.
I asked him what he learned about like directing and such when he did that. And his answer was like, I learned that I'd rather be acting than directing.
I mean, that was an impossible task. I would have told him, and I think I was gone, but I would have told him don't do that because you're gonna go up there. It's different. You think it's comedy, and it's just not. And especially that is so tied. It's so locally tied. It's so much about Canadian humor. Like if you don't get it, and I never did. The whole time I was there, I never did. I never got Canadian humor. I never was like took part in it. I never got it. I did my own thing and left. Like, yeah.
Was it referencey? Was it too referencey? Was it characters? Was it like
All that.
archetypal characters that they grew up with that you didn't, and the audience
Yeah.
knew and you didn't?
Exactly.
Like that, I remember you mentioning hockey moms.
Yeah. Yeah. There was
But
a scene.
It's got to be more than that.
There's a scene called Hockey Moms that they all do. It's like BVM in Chicago that everybody does there, and everybody knows how to do those characters because they know Hockey Moms, you know.
Yeah.
She got an accent. They got a that accent and all that stuff, and they're saying stuff, and I have no frame of reference for that.
What was the theme of the show when you were in it in Toronto?
It actually I actually did a lot of writing in that show, and so it really like kind of bended to my will. It ended up to be like corporate shit. I was like taking a lot from what Adam did, and so there was a lot of like anti-corporate kind of
Yep.
shit in the show. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot like pinata full of
I
bees.
I liked doing anti-corporate stuff too. I was inspired by Adam, and I would try to do stuff like that, but I never had that kind of satirical vein in me as strongly. It was always kind of underneath it all.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta know about it to really get
Yep.
it. To really, really like know what you're doing there.
I
And
know,
I,
because
I was never I was never that political.
I
Like I
know,
became political later, but you know,
because I want to be like Noam Chomsky, but it's like, oh yeah, you want to be like Chomsky? Because he was so soft spoken, but he always really nailed it. But he read everything. And you can't be
hmm
lazy. You got to be willing to read everything, every book, every newspaper article, everything.
I mean,
I just don't.
to be fair, his he studies language, so
He's a linguistics professor. Yeah, he's one of the smartest guys around. But part of that is doing the work, putting in the time, doing all the reading, the cross referencing, and staying up on stuff. We can
yeah.
still be inspired by these guys, even if we can't be like them.
Because like anything, the more you read, the more bullshit you could see is bullshit.
Yep.
And the more opinions you can get on a subject, you can start seeing like, well, those guys usually tell the truth, and those guys are a little sensational. So you could actually get to a pretty cohesive sort of truth if you're very aware. But then with book smarts take away some people smarts, and that's you know,
That can
I always
happen.
felt like I mean the stuff that I was doing with and a lot of people, but I always felt like it was inherently political, especially when I got to Second City. I was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, but um, I started when I auditioned for Second City right after the LA riots. Like right, I mean, I think it was like that week, um, and that was part of the reason I was there. So for me, it was like this is this is why we're doing this, and it was why I gravitated towards Second City because everybody in the comedy clubs were just talking bullshit, and I'm like, somebody's got to be talking about this stuff, and they do on Saturday Night Live, you know. And then I went to a show at Second City. I'm like, oh yes, that's it. They do this,
yeah.
you know.
Well, Second City is very civically minded, as they probably were in Toronto. Like they're making fun of politicians that you've never heard of, and you're like,
Well,
they have
the
their own
SC
Nixon.
when the SCTV gang was doing the Toronto Second City, according to them, were much more character driven. They weren't
They
really
were.
interested in doing satire and
Well, again,
art.
that was the thing I
Art.
found Canadian, and that's why I was like, I felt like I built the show to my will because they weren't doing that at all. That was Chicago,
Hmm.
that we were doing that. We did Pinata Full of Bees, and we were doing that. It would go away, but it came back. I mean, if political themes went away in Second City in Chicago, it came right back. They did a whole show called The Last Liberal at Second City ETC in the '80s. That was like a theme show. It wasn't even like seemed like it had a theme all the way through it.
Hmm.
Um, it was started out by University of Chicago students. They weren't about that in Toronto. It was completely different. I remember like Mike Myers said, he's like, every political sketch has been done. He said that in the '80s.
Well, it's cyclical. I got tired of politics. I didn't have the big interest in politics. So, but like coming up to as a New York improviser, New York's a very apolitical town improvisationally, extremely.
Still,
I don't know about now. It was for the 20 years I was doing it.
It was what?
Apolitical, improvisationally
Yeah.
speaking,
Yeah.
extremely. And the
Yeah,
Herald was
I mean, it's okay.
kind of yeah, yeah. You go, Raj.
I just think that it's okay to, like when McKay was doing the political stuff, it was also a take on the 40s and the racism of that time and the whatever
I think it's
but if you
different
do
with
that,
sketch. I think sketch is different
yeah.
because
I mean,
there's always an
it's not hip to like it wasn't hip anymore to like go after Bush. It's like it's already he's a complete
yeah.
asshole. It's like going after Trump now. It's like he's a complete asshole. Half the country wants him there. Uh, not shouldn't be there. Like he's not making good decisions, getting the wrong people involved. Obviously, that whole fucking thing. So it's almost like we're beyond that. It's like I was explaining to somebody that, and this is going to sound insulting, but it takes America like 5 years to get a joke. Uh, it's like
A longer than
whenever it
that.
was doing like
That's pretty
that's what
good.
that's what she said was already 10 years old, and then like it was taken to the next level, which was already
Yeah.
like old, making fun of how old it was, and then America was like, "Yeah, baby, I'm doing it." Wild and crazy guy. Uh, no, so it just
You
so
remember
it just takes them time, It takes Middle America a little time. They're not like LA isn't Pittsburgh, and
the Sopranos when
Dallas
they
isn't
had
New
that?
York.
The Sopranos when they had that Billy Big Mouth Bass. It was like during one episode when they had that fish. Remember that fish that would sing?
On The
Yeah.
Sopranos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and every scene they laughed so it was only about that. They would just like pick it up and look at it, and everybody start laughing, and everybody did it. The
Yeah,
family
yeah,
did
yeah,
it.
yeah.
They wouldn't even
It's
comment
that
on it. They wouldn't
Junior,
even
right?
say,
Wasn't
"Yeah,
Junior like, what's that stupid fucking fish doing here?
what's up, Junior?
Yeah, I think maybe Junior
Turn
was
that
like, it's
fucking thing
fucking
off.
creepy.
Turn that fucking thing off." Everybody else would be like,
That's
they
great.
wouldn't even
Isn't it
comment on it.
funny?
They just
That
laugh.
is, yeah.
That was
That's
such a
like that was
common
their version of them saying like,
Middle
you
America's
know,
sense of humor. Middle America's sense of humor is this.
yeah, yeah. It hasn't quite caught up yet,
Well, that
and
fish
that's why.
it had been out for like 20 years by the time that they were laughing
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. It was big. It was big in the '80s. So then, like like all toys, they bring them back, right? So it's like the new generation. So then in the '90s, they did have like Billy Bass again, mid '90s,
Yeah. You think?
and then but it was already old. There wasn't like they weren't commenting on something that's lame right now. It was already kind of lame the first time it was around. Now they're doing it
Like the
again.
pet
It's
rock?
like, huh?
Like the pet rock? You think the pet rock could make a comeback?
The Pet Rock doesn't have the staying power of
That
a
Bass?
singing
ain't
fish
a singing fish.
No,
That ain't
you're right.
funny.
or a dancing cactus. Um, or a pickle in a wheelchair singing. that's that's just one I made up. The get well soon pickle. No, but yeah. So that's the type of thing where I'm like, oh, you got to remind yourself too. Like, also, it's like I was expecting that the politics would catch up and they'd be like, oh yeah, that was in some insanity, but this is better. It's just time. But it's like, no, it just went the other way. Well, uh-oh. Now you think we're too smart, I guess? Is that the problem? That's what she said. That was the pinnacle of how hip we can get. That's all middle America will allow. That's what she said. Enough. That's it. Don't make fun of some other fucking people.
They did do a really good episode about that on The Office. That's what she said.
Well, they use that
Yeah,
a
well,
lot.
that's what got it back in the
That's what
vernacular
got
of
into the
America.
mainstream.
Yeah, well, that was the whole the whole point of the whole thing, right? Is how they were bringing back stupid things and how it can something like that can become viral in an office, is, and how office humor is
It's
the
also
worst.
cool. It's also cool because we
The
all kind of
worst.
fell for it. I remember seeing it and being like, "That's pretty cool." Like there was never a time where someone initially meets Billy Bash where they're like,
Get
"The
that stupid
fuck,
fucking
man?
thing out of
Come on." I was like, okay,
Come on.
okay,
Come on,
what?
man.
You know, after 3 times, you're like, "All right, enough, man." And then after 3 years, like, really? This is what a mentally ill person would get somebody for their birthday, like when they go to Walgreens. Um, but they come back. These thieves come back.
Really?
And I'm sure you can find there's some fucking version of it on the shelves in some stores. Ross, a little mini Billy
I
Bass,
know.
something.
If you got that as a gift, you'd be like, why are you mad at me?
No, you're like, that's
Yeah.
Dave. That's the guy who's really has a lot of issues. But he's a nice enough guy. But yeah, that's from Dave. So it's like, okay, I like it, man. I like it. Next gift.
Do you like my gift? Yeah, Dave. It's good, man.
It's
No.
funny. Let's sing with it. Oh God. Oh God.
No, we can't hang out. Nope, 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 nope. We can't.
I will kill your girlfriend. No.
Come on, we all end up in the Walgreens one day before Christmas or the birthday or whatever it is.
I know. We all do it, but I'm just saying that's the type of thing where you don't know you don't know at all who you're shopping for, what you care about. You've lost your idea of what.
I buy my best stuff at Walgreens. What are you talking about? That's my that's my
Yeah,
go-to.
I don't interact with
Or
human beings
CVS.
anymore except Walgreens, so that's mostly where I get a lot of my shit from Walgreens, like social,
Like clock
political,
radios.
like when the Easter eggs are like half price. That's what I know. The 10 times over for the month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
half price Easter eggs.
the past are half price. Those Reese's eggs. And I was,
They're little, they're little
they're
peanutty
usually
for
like a
me.
half. It's like a chicken nugget kind of, size and the width,
Yeah,
thickness. Now
yeah.
they've gone and done it, and they've made a full egg, like a size,
Oh,
like the shape of an egg,
ew.
around.
And that's all just peanut in there. Their version of peanut butter.
I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I'm sure it's got to be that.
I have tried it. It's all right.
All right.
Oh no,
I want to say something. The Reese's Thin is the best incarnation of Reese's there's ever been. You ever had one of them thin
Mm.
Reese's?
No,
It's like a reg,
that
it's
sounds
like a
right. That
regular
sounds good.
Reese. It's just like a little wafer. So it only has a little wafer of peanut in there, and
Oh.
then the two, but it's almost the size of a regular Reese's, and that's the best Reese's I've had.
It sounds good because usually it's too
I
much.
used to, I went through a
It
I
is.
went through a
Yeah, it
phase
is.
where I was just eating Reese sticks for breakfast.
I
You
know.
remember
I
this?
hated that. I hated that because we like when we get
Then the
lunch,
lady started
we're
getting
on
into it. He's
Reese's.
like, "Oh yeah, these are delicious."
Yeah, they're delicious, but you shouldn't eat two gigantic versions of them in the morning.
There's four little ones like this big.
Four.
four, four. But yeah, like
Jerry,
it's two of these.
I would eat a piece that was that
Two of
big,
these.
and
You'd
meanwhile,
eat this little one.
Ross
Yeah, you'd eat
would
that
eat
one.
a piece that big.
I'd be like, "Oh, it's in one package. It must be fine." You look back, it's like 850
So I
calories.
was, yeah.
It's awful.
It's like
Four, five
serving size
grams
of
of sugar.
two.
Yeah. Ser- Serving sizes if you lick it.
Oh, son of a bitch. But
Yeah,
yeah, but I still miss them. It's one of those things I've given up a little bit, but yeah, I might get an
it's a
egg
tough
though.
it's a tough neighborhood to find a really good cheap meal in Echo Park. There's a couple of them, but not a ton.
Oh, you just gotta go to the right place, man.
I scoured the place pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even like
I'm sure
the
all the good ones. No, the good ones are out of my price range. They just don't want to pay for that.
Well, I was gonna say, like, even the burrito place, like that one burrito place where you can get breakfast and stuff that's over on Sunset. That has to be cheap.
Well,
Oh,
Delaney
it's be
also has a
cheap and
very
really
strict
good.
diet. He can't have too much
Yeah, I'm on a crazy
salt
diet.
and grease.
Yeah,
The one I
yeah.
liked was that Korean hybrid place. What was that Pan Asian place we used to go to, Raj? Boy, they were good.
Pine and Crane, or Crane and Pine, or something like that.
Pine and Crane, yeah.
Oh well, that's a nice place.
That was a nice place. We went.
No,
We
but
went
it's
for it at
it's
that place.
very reasonably priced though. Very.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For
you can
what you
get out of
get.
Pine and
Yeah,
Crane.
no,
You can have,
it's one of my favorite places. I guess I would say.
yeah,
Um,
in the area, sure, yeah.
and then
Um,
Maria's Burrito on Sunset. That's close
that's
to
what I was.
the
Marie's burrito.
bar.
Yeah, that's the one.
Now the
They used
good
to have a
pizza
real good
place,
truck too, but that kind of went away, and they replaced it with like a more commercial version.
the good
Like someone
pizza
came in
place,
with a bigger truck.
the pizza is so good at Massa that after you have the pizza, your day is through.
Well, yeah, you can't have deep dish
Yeah,
pizza. You just can't
it's
have
like
it.
it's like taking it's like taking this many cheese slices and shoving them in your mouth. Each slice is like a whole handful of a stack of cheese slices, like that
Yeah, it
thick.
is. It's like a
Like
pizza stew with a
it's just
crispy, but
solid.
it's
You know you're going to get
crunchy though.
there's a whole base of cheese, right? So and it's not a little slice. It's not a little layer. It's huge.
It's a
Just
hunk, yeah.
the frisbee disc of record album of sausage though is a bit much for me.
You're
Just
wrong.
It's like
a big
it's
slab of sausage.
There's a disc. There's a disc of
yeah.
sausage that's laid on top of the cheese, I think.
They just
And
form the
then the
sausage
sausage
on.
on top of the meat.
Usually,
Is it the pie? It's like a pie dough, and then they put the sauce in, then some cheese, then the meat, then more sauce, and then that's it, right?
usually,
In
yeah,
this pie?
yes, yeah.
I don't
It
know. I
actually is
think
a
so.
pie. Do you remember, Raj? You remember the
Delaney wouldn't
hundred
even
thousand
open his
gram?
eyes; he just shove it down his throat.
Somebody's asking if you remember the 100,000 gram bar.
Yes, but they're
Yeah,
asking
dude. Yeah, yeah.
Raj.
Those were good. Those are regular peanuts and chocolate. Maybe a little
No,
caramel.
no,
Maybe
no,
a
I
little
thought
more
it
no,
was.
caramel.
I thought it
no
was a
peanut. It
bar.
was Rice
I didn't know it
Krispies.
was a candy bar. I thought it was a bar like you go to drink. Oh
It was
man.
it was called the $100,000 bar, and it did not have peanuts. It had Rice Krispies in it.
Had rice. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Um,
Oh yeah.
and they
Okay.
changed the name then to 100 grand because no one wanted to say the hundred thousand
hundred
dollar
thousand dollar
bar
bar.
anymore. And
No
it
one
was a
really
two
wanted to say
pieces.
100 grand either.
It was
No one was
always
too
a two
thrilled about saying,
pieces.
"Give me
No,
a
no one
hundred
would say
grand
100 grand. There
candy
was a
bar."
version. There was a different version of the $100,000 bar. It was very similar, but it might have had peanuts. It was the Reggie. It was Reggie Jackson's bar, but it was a disc. It was a disc,
Yes.
not like a baseball, but like a hockey puck.
It
Yeah,
was like a
Reggie's bar was
turtle,
a
like a
dish.
big turtle, right? Like
Turtle.
like
Yeah.
the chocolate turtles.
It was very like a turtle. It was like a giant turtle,
And
kind of like a round Snickers.
did it have like Yankees on it or any kind of
You
Reggie
know, I think it
iconography,
had
like a baseball
it.
bat?
It
It had
didn't
his
say
picture, I think.
explicitly that it was him, but I think it did have like a picture of a batter, like the way the NBA shows Jerry West in their logo. I think they had a little silhouette, maybe.
They at least should have like put a design of like a Yankee helmet with the hair coming out from the sides.
All right, I got a candy bar question for Mr.
You can
Sands.
still get them.
The Reggies?
Yep.
Well, I'll be.
They're not
Raj, I have a
Reggie
candy bar
Watts.
question. Do you remember the Marathon bar?
I didn't see. If you would have told me those were the same thing, I would be like, okay, but they're not.
What same
What
thing?
is a marathon bar?
Marathon bar was a candy bar we used to have that had a ruler on it. It was long. It was long. It was caramel. It was like a braid of caramel covered in chocolate. It was a nice long. There's the Reggie.
Oh, that's a good candy bar. That's
I
a
can't do my click.
$250.
For a
Oh, they're
case.
expensive though.
For a case, mind you. For a cold case.
Oh yeah, okay, that's good because I'm gonna sell
Oh,
them
so
for
they're not
sure.
still being manufactured. This is a case that someone held on to.
Autograph box, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so they're not still around. They're not still in. I thought you meant they were still in production.
I did too. I thought they were still in production, but apparently no.
Now, presumably,
If
the
you know
baby
if
Ruth is.
the right candy, the candy connoisseur knows how to store a Reggie bar for, you
No,
can keep it
the
if the right.
chocolate.
It's like wine. If you
Once
keep it in the
chocolate.
right temperature.
No, no, you're a cork
Haven't
soaker.
you seen them open up
Even,
Gary cans from the like World War II and the people eat like what's
yeah,
inside there?
yes, yeah, I have. I
That's
went
one of
down
my
a
favorite
rabbit
genres
hole
of
watching people
TikTok.
eat.
Eating old
Yeah,
shit.
watching people eat rations from Vietnam and
And
World
I've
War
seen,
II.
I've gotten into some videos where like a guy opens up he buys a pack of a whole like box of baseball cards and he opens it up in front of everybody. It's like, because you might get a
Hmm.
good one and then be like, holy shit, And then they'll
Yeah,
open up the old packs and get the gum and eat it. Like it's part of
gotta
the
eat it.
gimmick. You got to
Yeah,
eat that gum. You can't throw it
you
away.
want to see him eat it. You want it. You want him
You're
to
not
do
cool if you don't eat that old gum.
it.
The
The
guy could
gum
fake it
tasted
too. Just put up to his mouth and just like, hold on a minute, because he's just showing the baseball cards after that.
even when we
How did
bought
he
the
just?
gum fresh. It took a while to work that. You had to really work that gum. It tasted like it was 40 years old when it was fresh.
Even
Probably
when it
was
was
40 years
fresh,
old.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was made to last a couple of years for sure. Like they're like, just put it in the circulation. The
It was
Star
Because
Wars
just
from what I
cards
super
would be
remember,
out.
dehydrated.
like
Super
that and like
dehydrated.
Bazooka Joe, if it got too old, it would just be like chalk. Like you bite into it and it just would shatter.
That's true. Because I sometimes will leave gum in the car just for a number of months, but in the summertime, and then I'll try to chew it, and it's just a disgusting paste.
Yeah, it won't. Yeah, all of it get dried out.
Remember those were 2 cents piece.
Do you remember these?
Bazooka Joes. Bazooka Joes were 2 cents a piece. Like the early '80s, I think so.
If anybody's got a copy of this of Bob Odenkirk's one man show where he would do the Bazooka Joe, he do Bazooka Joe jokes, and you chew the gum.
What did he? What did he
And by
do?
the end,
Did he?
I forgot what the bit was, but by the end of it, he's got a big ball of gum in his mouth, trying to
Oh,
chew
I
that
And
know.
he's
shit,
just
but he's
reading
trying.
the Bazooka Joes.
And he's trying.
Yeah, but he's trying to tell the jokes and he's laughing way too hard. Like, oh shit, oh
That's
he's got
so
a sweater
dumb.
over his mouth. Oh, this is so funny.
See, that's punching sideways. Bazooka Joe deserved it.
Yeah.
They're great. They're great option, a great candy for everyone.
Never funny. Never
Never
funny.
funny. Never funny.
Not even
Weird.
like
Like
There's no. But
you're
there's
always
no
like, did
one
this shit
face of
fly in the
Bazooka
'30s?
Joe.
What's going on
I
here? Like,
know.
what
Like
are they? Are they writing jokes? Are they just giving us jokes that they wrote in the fucking '30s?
oh, I'd
They
be
were that
like,
bizarre.
did they really think this was funny? Because some of them would be like, this doesn't even track.
I wish I had a kid. I wish I had a Bazooka
I
Joe
know a
near me.
Bazooka Joe cartoon.
Because they're always like, they're never ever like, oh, that's kind of okay. I like that
No,
joke.
you never got a good one.
Like
There
sometimes
wasn't. There
an
wasn't
ice
one.
cream, a popsicle stick will make me laugh, but never a Bazooka Joe.
Bazooka Joe is 2 notches below a popsicle stick.
And I never understood how people would like. There was there was a comic in a sports section, and that shit. The guy looked like he was like from the '50s. It was like Ring Lardner, sports reporter, and he was just getting into weird shit, and it would just take so long. You're like, what is happening here? What is going on?
Yeah. It was
Oh,
probably
really?
like the guy who wanted to be the class clown and told jokes all the time that weren't funny and everyone in class was annoyed by.
Yeah.
That's the guy who grew up to write for Bazooka Joe because he just tried hard enough.
Yeah,
They all
he would clean up the bathrooms.
Oh,
they're all
hey, we
writing for
got one.
they're all
We
writing for
got one. I'm
Gutfeld
going to
now.
zoom in on it.
Never got that dude. I never got this dude. Why this was going on? The sweater in the face, dude. Okay, here's the comic. Bazooka Joe and his
Can you
gang.
make it big?
I'm trying to. I think this is as big as I can make it.
2 weeks in the that must have been an expression back in the day. What the hell does that even mean? I've grown
What?
another foot. Oh, I've grown another foot. I get it.
This is enough for 3 socks. 3 socks? My mom wants to knit socks for my brother in the army. Why 3 socks? He wrote in his letter 2 weeks ago in the army, and I've grown another
All
foot
right.
because he's got another foot, 3 feet.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
So
That's the best one I've ever
that's a good one.
heard.
That's the best one I've ever heard in my life.
It's still weird. It
that's
still
probably
That's
doesn't
why
the
sound
it's
right.
greatest joke. The greatest Bazooka Joe ever is that one. It's in the museum.
this
It's
is
at the Smithsonian.
it's in the Wikipedia article. So yeah, it probably is. This is the best. It's the best that they can
It's
do.
the best they can find. Uh
And
oh.
the guy and the kids in like fucking Korea. It's like, yeah, my brother's in Korea. Mom sending him a pair of socks. Like fucking Gomer Piles in Vietnam and shit. They're like, were you sending it over there, honey?
That's I used to when I watched Gomer Pyle. It's like that never came up. It never came up where he was going to get deployed. I'm like, didn't this happen during? Wasn't there a war going on during this? Wasn't that the reason that they had this show on to make the Marines look good?
At the at the end, him and Sergeant Frank, they get taken into Vietnam to the rat cage and they're slapped around. They're forced to play Russian roulette. It's like it's like this ending is way too dark, fellas.
Getting
I
slapped.
heard they did that though. I heard they did make them play suicide together in the rat cell. Miss
Golly.
Gomer Pyle gets tortured in the rat cage.
Oh my God! I didn't see
Listen,
the one where
Pyle,
Gomer got tortured.
don't lose it, Pyle.
Come on, Pyle.
You don't like rats, do you, Pyle? Oh, I love rats,
Rats,
Sarge.
rats are chewing my toes.
Well, I had pet rats when I was a boy.
Rats used to be my friend. Now
Rats
they're
are
eating
your
no parts of
friend,
me.
Sarge. And that
Shut up,
freaked me
Pyle.
out
Listen.
because the sergeant was. Sorry, step on your Sarge. What a creepy show.
I loved it when they started dating, like when they were going to double dates with Sarge's girlfriend
Oh
and
my
Yeah,
God!
yeah.
and
Sarge is
Gomer's
always
Because he
girl,
would say
Gomer's
like,
girlfriend.
it weirded me out
yeah.
because Sarge
I
was so abusive, and then Gomer would say, "Well, I like you, Sarge." He'd be like, "Well, I don't like you, Pyle. I don't like you one bit." And he'd say, "Well, I
know.
like you."
He was so mean when we were kids. I'm like, I don't like this. But now I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's
I get it.
okay.
I get it now.
I get it. And also, like, I found out later on that because I did end up watching this again later in life because I was like, I gotta see it, you know. And of course, there's something about it that you can hang on, you can like watch and be fascinated by. But
Yeah.
I learned that the guy was gonna get fired, and Gomer's like, I'm saying Gomer. Jim Neighbors was like, I want him here. He's a friend. He's a good friend, so I want him to play the part. So if you don't
Oh,
want to,
really?
if you don't want to do that, I won't do the show. So that
Wow.
made it like very cool.
And supposedly Jim Neighbors was like a really genuinely like good person.
Yeah,
Had
yeah.
to have
Like he was
been.
like
There's
that.
Had
no
to have been.
there's rumors of gayness, but other than that, there's no. Even that just seems like so what? Like
Yeah, of
back in the
course.
No,
'70s, that was like, oh my god, are you serious?
people knew. They just
Jim
did. They
Neighbors
just.
and Burt Reynolds?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I mean, him, he
I'm
and
not saying
him,
there wasn't some of that. I'm not saying there wasn't some.
him and Liberace. I was a little kid, like he and Liberace. I was just like, wow, come on. I mean, why, why are we doing this?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Okay.
it wasn't that Jim Neighbors ever acted gay. Really, he was just so gentle and sang like a little angel. So I think, and
Yeah.
he probably maybe if he was gay, then whatever. But yeah, like it wasn't like Liberace was just like flaming out in the '70s, and it was
They
all
called him
everyone was on board.
flamboyant. The word was flamboyant. When someone was gay
Yeah.
and everybody knew it, and they just pretended they weren't, and everyone just looked the other day and be like, "Ah, he's flamboyant."
And it was just the right timing, you know. Like in the '60s, people were dumb enough to be like, "Oh yeah, he is looking for a girlfriend." And then in the '70s, people were like,
Yeah.
"He's a freak, man. Let him have fun. He's actually fun." And, you know. And then and that was like the same, you know, Bob Denver or whatever, Jim Denver.
He's a bachelor.
Bob
Bachelor.
Denver,
Bob Denver was Gilligan. Who's the other Denver?
Gilligan. Yeah, a lot of rumors that Gilligan was gay.
That was one too. Yeah.
No,
Jim
I was
Neighbors.
making that up. I was making that up. Well, people will start rumors about
Did
anything.
you know that the professor took part in Fat Man and Little Boy in the development of the atomic bomb?
He was a real professor. He was a real professor. They hired a real professor to be on the.
Saying the
They're like, you
professor
know what?
had
We
a
need
hand
we need someone to like to keep this technically on board.
See if you could actually make a coconut cream pie.
Yeah.
with no eggs, no milk. I'm like, what are they milking? There's no.
What's that?
coconut milk.
I said, what are they milking? Who are they milking?
No,
They didn't
it's
milk them.
coconut milk, Jerry. Coconut milk.
They never got into the farming situation. But
No,
someone
they
was.
had agriculture.
See, I just-
they had agriculture on Gilligan's Island.
I just
Yeah,
assumed they was using breast milk, but you know.
The professor.
I was hoping they was using ginger the breast milk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
Well,
got
Mary
your
Ann,
rewrites.
Like a little bit of both, 50-50. 2%. Ginger has 2% milk, and Mary Ann has full whole milk. Am I gone?
Jerry, I think I
I
was more
assume
perplexed
kitty
by the
milk.
car.
Say it again.
I was more perplexed by the car than the coconut cream pie.
They made a car. Yeah.
I never
They made
thought of kitty milk
stage.
being a possibility.
No.
Oh, you didn't think of that? Yeah. I was like, how
No,
are
I
they making
didn't think it was
pies? man?
Mary Ann's breast milk. Of course not.
Because I'm like, the eggs, well, you can get like there's a dodo bird or whatever on the island, but the milk, they got
Yeah,
they got
did you say
they got a
there's a
milk-
dodo bird?
yeah, they got to milk ginger.
Yeah, there's the last living dodo birds are on the island.
And they eat their eggs.
And Skipper's trying to kill him.
They're just eating the eggs, eating all the babies.
We're eating these things up. Oh, makes you kind of like them. Shut up, Gilligan, you asshole.
That was one of my first, like, oh, come on. I think it was
subtext.
my first stand-up routine of going to school and like, okay, who believes Gilligan's Island? Like, come on, folks. Everybody can visit the island, but they can't leave. Get the fuck out of here.
It's like Hotel California.
You can come, but you can't leave.
You can check out anytime.
Dude, they had a magician came.
Mhm.
The Harlem Globetrotters came. A rock band came. A rock band.
Mosquitoes. The mosquitoes.
The mosquitoes. They're playing music on the fucking island.
And it was all the same on all those shows.
I know, same music.
The reason the mosquitoes left without them, because they were saved. They had a vessel. The reason they left is because the band that the three girls put together, was so good. They were going to put the
Oh,
mosquitoes
right, they were
out
gonna
of
put 'em-
business if they got back to the civilization. So
Even Loving?
So they left them there. They essentially committed murder. Leaving people on the
Yes.
island, leaving them stranded on the
Yes,
island.
that's-
For God's sake.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody about them. Let's keep it our secret. There's people on an island.
You know what? There was headhunters on that island. They were not alone.
The headhunters weren't on the island. They would come and visit the island every once in a while. Because the first time they
were on
came,
neighboring.
there was a neighboring island. And Gilligan was going to marry the chief's daughter. Because that always happens. You marry my
happens.
daughter.
Anytime.
Yeah, anytime you visit some, yeah.
It happens in fucking Mutiny on the Bounty. He ends up with the chief's daughter.
That's what happens when you go to an island. Yeah, you end up with the chief's daughter. You got to marry the chief's daughter.
It's got to be the Chiefs.
It's got to be the chief. Yeah, it's not like
It's
some
gonna
normal dude,
happen.
some regular dude. Like,
No, 100 guys, they're all going to end up with the Chief's daughter. Oh, Rod Split.
yeah, I hope
There
they can
was
get him
some
back.
dream, they would cut you a break the way they do in Star Trek. That sometimes they'll do, they invented the holodeck for Star Trek. They used to have to come up with some kooky reasons. They used to have to like travel back in time or shit like that. Like there was a planet that was 1950s Chicago or 30s Chicago. Remember the gangsters, things like that.
Love that one. Yeah.
Then Star Trek
Ancient-
came up with the holodeck, and then they could do any era they wanted.
Yeah. That was smart. So they didn't have to go to an island or a planet that's like, oh, this planet is ancient Rome.
No.
Or
So
Nazis.
the way Gilligan's Island broke out of the island was through these dream sequences. Sometimes they would have these dreams. One of them was
Right.
the to be or not to be sequence. I guess it was a big Hamlet thing.
Yep.
A lot of sad daydreams. Yeah.
Right. Or night dreams.
All just with the sad reality that you're still on the island with these people. You wake up and you're like, oh no.
But
You
lots of
missed us.
visitors. Phil Silvers, and Vincent Price will be here soon.
Phil Silvers. Phil Silvers is gonna build a casino on the island and then leave.
Was that his premise?
No, but that's the kind of thing he would do. You know, like
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah,
It's always.
That was
Hey, let's get.
probably it.
You guys don't have a casino here? Got the headhunters fucking gambling there.
Yeah.
Last time I was in LA, I heard Dorf talking about Gilligan's Island, and he was doing a breakdown. He was like, Hale, the skipper, was pretty much killing it, and he went through the cast. When he got to Thurston Howell, he said, Thurston Howell's jokes all still hold up. All the rich guy jokes, all those rich dude jokes work just as well today as they did then. They're the same jokes. Nothing has changed. The other stuff, Gilligan's jokes don't hold up that well. All of Thurston's do.
What is
What do you
Thurston?
mean you have a caviar spoon?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yes, my boy.
Yes, my boy. Gilligan.
Thurston Howell stole the show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those are my favorite characters by far. They were still gonna live their rich lifestyle. They still like had their shit apart from everybody, everybody else.
Yeah, because they had 50 suitcases and then everyone else had one.
Still had all their shit.
Yeah.
They still had all their shit. It's like no, this social construct continues.
Well, it did in the Navy too. If a Navy ship crashed and they were stuck on an island until another ship came and rescued them, they would fucking draw the ship in the sand and they would still muster and still do all the shit that they did. This would last for a few weeks. If no one came to rescue them, then things might start to break down. People, of course, would, some of them would run away and defect. But generally, they would keep naval order until someone showed up and brought them back.
We got like 5 more minutes.
Oh yeah.
Let's start
What do
saying
you-
goodbye.
What do you want to leave as a call to action?
Well, is it time to stand up? Everyone's got to stand up for what's right and speak out.
Yeah,
I think
that
a
is
lot,
true,
of,
man.
a lot of our forefathers died defending the right for SNL to make fun of Amy Wood. But I
And
don't
also,
care. I don't care for it. I
for
think it's punching down.
and for people's right to watch Jerry's next podcast, the premiere.
Yes.
So
I'll be
yeah,
watching.
half
Lane
an
to the
hour.
back of
I'll
the
be
room.
back with
I'll be
Dean.
watching.
We're gonna shit all over SNL. We're gonna we're gonna talk about these
Hope y'all
guys.
learn new bad stuff.
Don't you hate white people, Dean? I was just with him. Let's tell you all the fucked up shit they said. Let's go over it.
Yeah, you had a good time.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for coming. Sorry, there's a shooting.
Uh-oh.
In Georgia. Hope everybody's okay. And Supreme Court's going to hear birthright citizenship. So there you go.
Oh boy. Peace.
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Be good, you guys. I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you, Janet.